I'm Jeanette Kane from Jewelry Arts Inc. In this video, I'm going to show you how to glue a pearl into a gorgeous pendant setting. So check out this gorgeous pendant. Look at what Shar has made. It's like a beautiful little cap and a little like vine-like bail for the top, which I think is sexy as fuck. I think you would all agree. It's gorgeous. So we're at the state now where we're ready to glue the pearl. There's a peg down in here. I'll pull this out in a second so you can see it. When you glue pearls in, what we use is 5-minute epoxy. The kind where like, you know, you're gonna put an equal amount of each and mix it together, and that really holds very well. There's a few things when you're gonna glue. The glue sets up relatively quickly, so you don't wanna be like, put the glue on and then be like, oh, I just want to polish that last little thing, or like, oh, I don't have a damp paper towel ready to go in case my glue gets somewhere I don't want it. Because if you put on too much glue and it like, you know, everywhere, you can wipe it up immediately, no problem. If you leave it and you wait till it cures and then you have glue everywhere, you are fucked. So you don't want that. That's why you kind of set yourself up so that, like, you know, no big deal if you do it at the time. So the glue does hold really, really well. So we're not going to use an enormous amount because I really don't want it to just like, you know, drool all over. I'm sure those of you at home maybe have had that happen to you once or twice before. So this is the spot where she wants it to arrange. You see she has everything laid out. So I'm going to pull it out like so. And you see how we have a little peg there? And the peg is a little rough, which, you know, texture is always helpful. Because the tricky thing about gluing jewelry type elements, metal, pearls and stuff, stones, is that they're relatively smooth. So there isn't like an enormous amount for them to hold on to. And that's really the problem. You know, they're not very porous. So if you notice her peg is not highly polished, you know, if yours is highly polished, you might want to take a second and kind of scuff it up a little bit. Because that's actually the one part that you don't want all smooth and super, super beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here, I'm gonna put this here in the vain hope that I will remember the right position, but I have the artiste here, Shar, to tell me when I have gone wrong if I put it in the wrong way. I'm just gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna start mixing up the glue. Now, you need an equal amount of the glue to make sure that it actually sets up. So I don't lay out the glue one on top of each other because they're both clear, and then you're not going to be able to know if you have more of one or the other. So I set them up right next to each other. I'm using an old out-of-date postcard. You want to do it on something that, you know, you're going to throw in the garbage. I have a couple of low-tech, what do you call these, little toothpicks here. You can also use like a paper clip or something, but again, something that when you're done, you're just going to throw it in the garbage because it's going to be all goopy. Okay, so like there's some right there. And I'm gonna put the other stuff right next to it and do my very best to try to get an equal amount. Clearly this is not our shiniest and newest bottle. Dang it. Might be a little clogged.
The part here likes to party.
Yes it does. There we go. Okay, so like to me, maybe a hair more of that. Let me just do this. Let me spread it out a little and see if I think that's the same. Actually, I think that looks pretty good. Now, of course, if you have a hair more of one, you can also just sort of like do that kind of a thing. But we're gonna mix, mix, mix. Remember, the glue can't set up like it's a chemical reaction unless it's really well mixed. So people will do that and be like, oh, look, it's mixed. No, like you wanna really get in there and whee, spin it around. And like I said, remember, when the glue is mixed, it's time to use it. This is not time to go take a phone call or be distracted in any way. Okay, so that should be good. And you can also kind of like, you know, scrape it together and, you know, like so. Beautiful. That should be good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna put a little bit in here and on the peg. But again, you don't need a lot. If you put too much, it's just gonna sort of ooze out over everything, and you don't want that. Okay, so you see what I mean? Like there's like, I don't know, a little in there. And usually when I'm putting the pearl in, I'm gonna be kind of spinning it, you know, so that the glue kind of spreads around in there. And I believe this part goes right in here. You know, I'm gonna kind of spin it around. Ideally I want the glue there to just kind of like spread. Is that the right position?
Excellent.
Looks like the right position, but we're gonna get the the maker to give us the final approval. No!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I don't mean to yell, not the glue. But guess what? Because we have a damp paper towel ready to go, we can wipe it off immediately. Thank you for proving how important the setup is. As I scream in the middle of the video, no!
You picked the best spot.
I know, right? Perfect. So then I'm just gonna look at all of it and make sure there's no glue, you know, like kind of oozing out anywhere. I don't really think there is, but. And then actually, sure, if you don't mind, will you get me a third arm, pretty please?
Oh, this one.
Oh, you have one? Beautiful. Because normally once I have it in place and right where I want it, I'm gonna set it up in a third arm so that the pearl is straight up and down. Because in other words, if I take this and let it go and let it just sit on the table, for all I know, maybe the top is gonna like, you know, turn a little bit or somehow be not where I want it. So instead, so that that cannot happen, we're gonna do this. And we're gonna position this so that the pearl is straight up and down. So that, in other words, it's not under any kind of stress where it can, you know, and I'm gonna get up and look from the side and make sure that that's not tilted. I'm gonna tilt it back a hair this way, but basically you're just making sure it's not under any kind of tension that might make it move and be out of its beautiful and perfect alignment, okay? So the thing of it is, this glue technically dries in like 5 minutes. Usually what we do is tell people just to be like not really, like I wouldn't like let it dry for 5 minutes, put it on, and then go get on the subway. You know, like for me, I'd rather, but you know what I'm saying? I'm always like, let it cure overnight so that like we really feel like 1000% certain that it's holding. But I have to say, this is 5-minute epoxy stuff. I mean, we even put, you know, tubing terminations on with these. This stuff really holds well, okay? So I would say just let it sit like this until the end of class, put it in a little something, and then tomorrow I would put it on. Have I known people that have put it on sooner? Yes, but I think it's better to wait a little bit.